right, let's rock and roll.
Yeah, bro, nice to have you here.
Thanks for having me.
Welcome to the town.
I appreciate it.
Coming in hot from NASDAQ?
Hot from NASDAQ. We rung the bell this morning.
Yep. Give us the D. What's going on?
The TLDR is we have a couple things working with NASDAQ and specifically, so you guys will see it soon. But we joined Van Eck to ring the bell this morning. I was there, 5-6 others of the Pudgy Penguin team, and then obviously the Penguin mascot. You know, Van Eck's been really great friends of ours for a long time, and it's just a really great moment to kind of represent and work together and just enjoy a great moment. But we got some things cooking, at least on the institutional side, that I'm really excited about.
We got Pudgy Penguins ringing the bell before GTA 6, right? It's like wild times for us. All right, let's get straight into it. The main gist of this conversation here is that for all over the world, right, people from like 16 to 26, right, this is the hottest age group right now to start a new company or to start building revenue, right? With AI tools, it's becoming like more and more easier, right? And you've already done it firsthand, right? When you were 18, you got your first million. When you were 21, you were already generating like hundreds and millions of dollars of revenue, right? Through different businesses and everything, right? After that, you acquired Pudgy Penguins. You saw an opportunity, right? You were not the founder, but you saw an opportunity of what you can do with the IP, and now you've brought it all under the same umbrella of Igloo, and now that's like worth almost like $1 billion, right? Keeping all this in mind, who is Luca and what's your story?
I think now I'm really just striving for greatness, man. You know, I really just want to build the biggest, greatest company that I possibly can that's going to have the most impact on the most people, and I think that's really our focus right now. It's less about like, are we going to survive, are we going to make it, and it's more about like, are we going to pioneer, are we going to do something amazing and phenomenal, or are we not? And I think right now that's really what we're striving for.
Right. When it comes to building a business or even just like earning your first bucks, right, it's all about distribution, right? And you know the art very well. If you want to break down the art of building distribution by all your like different ventures, what does it boil down to?
I think it's touch points, right? Like just meeting people in as many different places as possible, I think makes the ultimate difference. And I think a lot of people look at marketing like a conversion action, and I think it's a process. And just meeting people in as many different places as possible, I think, is our primary focus.
Right, but let's break down even deeper into it. When you started your, like, let's say, dropshipping business, right? And you've done so many of them. After that, you revived the hats as well, right?
Yeah.
But like so many different businesses that you've actually put in your different learnings into, right?
Yeah.
When you say that, oh, I was with this rapper and we just made an official fan page for them and we were selling chains for them, right? Again, there was a lot of like behind the scenes work that was going, whether it was content, story, right?
Yeah.
What was all of that?
Yeah, I think when you look at like, I tell people this all the time, but like my history, you know, of building different businesses has led me to this business, right? Like all of those learnings, like what is Pudgy Penguins really? It's an influencer. Where did I make my career? Monetizing social influence. You know, by monetizing social influence, I lived with influencers. I knew how it looked to grow an influencer.
Right.
And just all of these, you know, Gel Blaster is the fastest growing toy company, you know, before Pudgy. Obviously, that's how we segued into Walmart and Target super quickly. So I think it's just like the whole set of learnings over the last, you know, 7-8 years have kind of led me to this point, and have all culminated into the success of Pudgy.
Yes, you have to share those learnings. Let's try to be specific here. Let's say that I am like a 20-year-old who's starting to build a business. It's my first time trying to sell anything online. What are 3 things that you started?
Community.
Okay.
Man, the power of word of mouth marketing is the best marketing, and that was actually a thing I never did well until Pudgy. And so appreciate, respect, and love your community, and really galvanize that nucleus. It can be the best GTM you could possibly have. I think the second one is customer experience. Ship products and give an experience that you're proud about.
Right.
And then the third one is always have young people on your team, because viral marketing is the most scarce and important asset in the world. And so much of our success, I think, over the last couple of years, I would attribute to us being a young team.
Right. All right. From your earlier days when you were doing drop shipping for like different rappers, different underground rappers, Supreme Patty, everything, right? Building that online empire.
Yeah.
Through those years, you then realized that this is not how I'm going to capture enterprise value, right? And enterprise value, first of all, what does that even mean?
Yeah.
And how do you sort of like go from one part of the business to the enterprise value part of things?
I think enterprise value is basically a business that can run on its own without you at the helm or running it, right? Meaning it has a real enterprise. There was a moment at Pudgy where if I left, the whole business would be done, right? There's a moment now at Pudgy where if I left for 6 months, you wouldn't even notice, right? As long as I was still tweeting on the timeline. Like, you would not know, because there's an enterprise value, there's an enterprise running autonomously without one singular failure point. And, you know, and it's like, you know, drop shipping, it doesn't build enterprise value because nobody likes the experience of drop shipping. You're constantly having to buy net new customers. So there's no enterprise value. There's nothing really to be sold. Versus like a brand like, you know, call it like Pudgy Penguins, with enterprise value because things are continuously being sold, you know, and the experience is good for the buyers, that if I stopped all my marketing today, we'd still make revenue. Right? And that's the value of the enterprise.
Good. And your enterprise is sort of like twofold, I feel, right? One is your Web2 sort of distribution arm when it comes to the Walmarts, the Targets, right? And one is the abstract or the Pudgy Penguin, the crypto, the speculative part of things, right?
Yeah.
One is the constant slow growth here in your revenue, and the other one is the token that goes up and down,
Yeah.
right? Two different businesses, two different like niches.
Yeah, I think they contradict each other, so it's a good question. Because like keeping up with the crypto Joneses and growing a forecastable revenue business that is slow and steady up and to the right contradicts each other. I think the mindset of running Pudgy Penguins, we very much have a Web3 part of the company and a Web2 part of the company, and they don't really intersect the way that people think.
Right.
And so I think, you know, my learnings from at least running the operation the way that we're running it is there has to be kind of a divide between the two. And so, you know, how do you know, the Web3 companies focus on headlines and, you know, making excitement and creating that attention, and that doesn't necessarily segue into the second part of the business, which is, I think, the Web2 part of the business. And ultimately, you know, I want to grow revenue, so I'm looking for parabolic revenue growth. Like that, I think, is really important to us.
Right.